As we are closing out 2025, something became extremely clear to me. And that was the fact that there was no gray middle, no big, gray, messy middle. There were simply two groups. There were the individuals that won and the individuals that didn't. Now, what didn't separate the two, it wasn't their education levels, it wasn't their, charisma, it wasn't their disc profiles, etc. What it boiled down to was their behaviors and their activities that they decided to implement on a day to day basis. For context, I worked with hundreds of brokerages this year, which recruited thousands and thousands of agents and billions in annual sales volume, which gave me a front row seat to see these exact same patterns that we're going to be exploring in this video. Point one, winners did one thing violently day after day. Most individuals that were in that gray zone or that weren't winning at all, they were focused on everything. If you're in B2B sales, you're recruiting or you're selling and all that other stuff, there's a million different distractions out there. There's a million different things that you could be doing on a day to day basis, but the people that won did one thing violently. And if you're following this page, you're probably selling or recruiting. I guarantee you, if you just could focus on booking more appointments with quality individuals that are wanting to make moves now, nothing else would matter. And it's simpler than what you think. Because I guarantee you right now, you might be spending time on the second most important thing on your business. If we go back to point one, do one thing violently, do that one thing violently and leverage out everything else. Focus on your one thing, that one thing that's actually going to 10x your results, that's going to increase your income, the highest dollar per hour activity. If you know that your dollar per hour is $2,500, if you're lead generating and you're going on appointments, why are you doing anything else? Point number two, the winners this year stayed after the excitement died down. They stayed after the excitement died down. They beat opportunities to death. I'll give you a quick example of what that looks like. There's a lot of different opportunities that are coming up. There's a lot of different messaging points that are working. There's brokerages shutting down every single day. There's different talking points. For example, Compass buying Anywhere Real Estate, vice versa. Other companies amalgamating, etc. We may talk about that for a day. We may talk about that for a week. But the winners, they didn't leave when that excitement died down. They beat that opportunity to death. They beat that speaking point until they got the desired result. Because if we go back to all the different messages of the moments, for example, the fact that 90% of agents and realtors haven't done a transaction all year long, that is still a talking point as we're heading into 2026. 6 months ago, 90% of the boards haven't done a transaction. Has that changed now? That answer is no. People are still in pain. Why are we not talking about it anymore? Stay excited on what's going to move your needle forward. Don't jump onto a different train. Focus on what's already making other people money. Point number three is that the winners sold the prospect. They did not sell their product. What does that mean? A lot of individuals that are watching this right now, when they try to recruit or when they try to sell, they hyper focus on selling the product. They hyper focus on why their company is the best or why their product's the best or their features, their this, their that, and why they're better than all of their competitors. And that is exactly why they lost. The people that won this year, they sold the individual. They sold the lead. They figured out their lead's goals. They figured out their gaps. They figured out the consequences of what's going to happen if they don't take action and get into business with them. They understand that the prospect doesn't have any other option other than them. Point number four is that the winners this year, they had a high emotional recovery speed. We are in high ticket sales. Rejection is the name of the game. We're going to have people telling us to F off every single day. We're going to get ghosted every single week. We're going to have bad experiences all the time. The losers, the messy middle, that gray part, if they get a bad call, that might sour their entire day. A winner, however, when they get told to F off on the phone, they're goldfish. They simply hang up and they dial the next person because they know that they have the best product on the market. They understand, they have the confidence, the conviction, and the aura to know that they are the best. Point number 5, the winners had an extremely strong cadence and attachment to their calendars. In B2B sales, in leadership, there are distractions happening absolutely everywhere. And a lot of people don't want to do the hard stuff. As soon as they have an email come in, they go to answer it. The individuals that won this year understood that their calendars are built for productivity and they need to build momentum off of their calendars. They understand that if they're going to be lead generating every day from 9 to 11 and 9 to 12, nothing else matters. That's what the winners did. The losers, they were pissing in the wind. If they got an email, they were getting away from their calls to fix that. If they had somebody coming in with a fire or an issue within their organization, they were putting that out instead of focusing on what's actually going to move their needle forward. Point number 6 was that the winners this year were ruthless with where they put their attention. As we know, where focus goes, energy flows, and where energy goes, results follow. So at the end of the day, who's on our calendar and who are we listening to? Are we listening to people that are currently winning, or are we listening to people that used to win 20 years ago and haven't won recently? Because I know a lot of even coaches out there, they haven't done the thing in so long and they don't have clients doing the thing. Be around winners. Only listen to people that are winning, that are currently doing the thing. You guys have all heard before, rising tides lift all ships. Who are you listening to? Are you consuming everything and getting pumped up every day about what somebody did 20 years ago? Or are you looking at the results from today? Point number 7 is that winners tracked the domino metrics, the leading indicators, whereas losers, they track their time and their effort. Right? Just because you're working extremely hard day after day doesn't mean you're going to win. The winners understood what leading indicators were. They understood that at the end of the day, if they're tracking how many emails they were sending out, how many texts were going out, how much marketing they're putting out, and at the end of the day, how many appointments they're actually booking on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to emphasize that, how many appointments they're booking on a day-to-day basis. That was going to be a clear metric on how much money they were going to make on a day-to-day basis. So if you're going to win in 2026, focus on your leading indicators. Don't just focus on the fact that you have 2 hours time blocked every single day, because a lot of you guys, including myself back in the day, we had 2 to 3 hours time blocked every day and we maybe made a couple dials here and there. Right? The winners, great, I've got time on my calendar, but what they really did was they focused on what they were actually accomplishing. Not the inputs, not the outputs, but the outcomes. Point number 8 is that the winners just took ownership. They didn't have a story. There was no villains out there that stopped them from hitting their goals. At the end of the day, the winners, day in and day out, knew that their leading indicators, their lagging indicators, their income, their anxiety, everything came down to them. And they understood what activities they needed to do in order to move their needle forward. As Tony Robbins says, most people don't lack resources. They lack resourcefulness. They lack doing the thing. Winners understand that at the end of the day, everything comes down to them. Whether they won, whether they lost, doesn't matter about the market. The majority of my clients are having the best year they've ever had, and this is the worst market that I've personally ever been a part of. The winners understood that. They take ownership. As we close out on 2025, understand it doesn't matter about how hard you tried or how much effort you put in. It really matters about what side of the behaviors did you lean into? Did you lean into the behaviors of the winners, the losers, or that messy middle? Because in 2026, it's not going to be different. It's not going to matter about how hard you tried this year in 2026. What's going to matter is if you actually implemented a system and model. God bless you guys. Let's go crush it in 2026.